All right, I'm going to call a 2-minute warning before we start with our work session. All right, I know that was a short 2 minutes, but we're going to go on and call the January 8th work session of White County Board of Education to order. Appreciate everyone being here. Hope you had a great holiday, Christmas and New Year's, and as we start swinging into 2026. This time during our work session, we're going to go through the consent agenda items that are on our agenda tonight. We'll review those. The intent is these items that we'll be covering during this session, unless there's something that indicates that needs further discussion in our regular meeting, then we will. The intent is that we will pass these through unanimous consent, and then move on into the rest of our agenda for our meeting tonight. But we'll use this time right here to go through those items that are listed in consent. So I'll start with the board meeting minutes from our regular meeting, as well as our work session from December 11th, 2025. Board members, those were handed out to you, provided to you in your packet before tonight's meeting. Trust you've had an opportunity to look over those and see if there's any questions, revisions, clarifications that need to be made on either the minutes for the work session or the regular board meeting.
Just have one question, Mr. Chair, and it may be for Mr. Markham. All the budget amendments that we made and that we approved in our last meeting, did those make it through through the county commission? So it has been, everything's been approved that needed to be approved. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McDonald. Are other questions, comments regarding our minutes? Thank you, Ms. Sims, for putting those together on your birthday last month. All right. If there's no questions on those, nothing we need to cover, then take it down to the next item, and that's our policy report. So, board members, in our packet, we were provided 2 policies, and these were recommendations from TSBA, which we do receive guidance from regarding policy and reviews. One of the policy was one of the recommendations to change. It was policy 1901, and that is regarding a policy on charter schools. And there is language in the first paragraph, I believe, just saying that as a district, for application purposes, our director would provide the applicant with information regarding state data and federal data for pupil funding estimates, and do that within a 5-day time period. So that's it's procedural in nature, and that policy just stating what has to be, what we will provide those that are that will be, if there was a charter school application for somebody within our district. We don't have any charter schools in our district. We haven't received any applications, but this would just be preparation in the event something like that was to somebody was to make an application. So it's basically just in our policy we're stating that we would provide that information, or a director would or a designee would provide that if they received a letter requesting. Any questions on that policy recommendation, policy change. Okay, if there's no questions or comments or further information, you will have another month to study this if need be, because when we if this is item remains in a consent agenda, it will be coming out of consent, passing in first reading. So keep that in mind. Would have an opportunity to look at that next month. That would also probably apply more to the second policy recommendation, and that is policy 2804 regarding expenses and reimbursements. Basically, of course, as state entity, we're exempt from paying sales tax, and that would include sales tax reimbursements if you were as part of the reimbursement. However, there may be an occasion where somebody has to make a purchase and does not have all the appropriate information available to provide that tax exempt status. And so this policy, and we've been given the latitude that we can pay that, and this is from comes from the state comptroller's office. That it can't be paid if we don't in policy say we would pay up to a certain amount and state that amount. If we unless we say it in policy that we would pay it, then we can't. And so it's the policy recommendation is that we if we choose to not withhold the tax reimbursement that somebody might experience from making a purchase for the district on the district's behalf, then we would need to change our policy. Now, one of the things that we would director has stated is that we probably want to get some guidance, because there would be some things that this would impact as far as maybe some limits that need to be applied on that reimbursement. And so it's also recommended by TSBA that we get some professional help on how that wording is and what those limits might be. So if we choose to move forward with this and reimburse on sales tax, if that situation applies and we want to put that in our policy, it's going to be recommended that we have our board attorney give us some guidance on what those amounts would be. So that is the purpose of policy 2804 coming before you tonight. So pause there and give you the chance to ask questions. Mr. Smith.
Just to confirm, what you're asking is that this policy move forward upon the recommendation or conversation with our board attorney. Is that what you're asking?
That is correct. I think, and I'll try to be more succinct in what I'm saying.
No.
Yes, we would, if we choose to want to reimburse for sales tax, then we have to state that in our policy. But we would still need to seek guidance from our attorney as far as what those amounts or parameters might be surrounding that. So it would be, our intent tonight would be to say that we intend to reimburse if that's applicable. However, we're going to wait for guidance from our attorney before we would pass that official on second reading. So we'd still have a chance to look at it. Mr. D?
And Mr. Markham, you can correct me if I'm wrong on this, but I mean, this is under this policy about expenses and reimbursements has mainly to do with travel expenses. So this wouldn't just allow someone to go out and buy something at Lowe's and then get sales tax paid for it. So this is specifically aimed at travel and of our personnel. So it shouldn't be large amounts of tax anyway, but just want to get the attorney's wording on how to keep those parameters in place.
I guess that was gonna be my question, was how often is this happening now, or is it not happening at all? And that's why it's in the language is in here now to be able to make that happen.
It's my understanding that we would have to withhold any tax
Okay.
on expense reimbursement now unless we state it in policy.
Okay.
Something else when taken into account is we've now switched to stipends at any rate, so it's not always going to be applicable to our system. But that in mind, just want to get the wording from the attorney to make sure we have it correct.
Any comments or questions for the, I guess that would be the east side of the room?
Assuming that is Scott Bennett that we're gonna be using to get those recommendations from? Yes. Okay,
That would be correct.
thank you.
Any other questions on policy revision to 2804? All right, if not, then we'll move down to the next item on our agenda, and that consent agenda, and that's the maintenance report. Mr. Alley, good evening. How are you? Did you like? It's all right. I spent quite a bit of time there myself.
A few months ago, I brought kind of a really quick presentation of us looking at some companies to help us determine what's next with our 5-year plan and some things like that. So we narrowed that down into 3 companies, and then made the decision that we are going to go with a CMTA. And CMTA, he sent me all of this stuff. They've been in business for 56 years, and they're general contractors, they're architects, they're engineers. They do it all. You can see that most of their work right now is Kentucky and Florida. They are doing a lot of schools in Kentucky to where they're what they call zero cost, meaning that their electric and utility bills are actually paying for the school. So it's a pretty neat concept. And like I said, there's a lot of things here. I'm not going to go through all of those. Net zero schools, things like that. So they're big into geothermal, which we have a problem with that around here because of all the holes in the ground. But they are big into that. Ben Buckner's a guy that we have been working with. He's a Tennessee guy, and he's a project manager, tech grad, Dixon County. So what he's going to do is that they're basically going to survey every one of our schools. They're going to catalog all the equipment. We're talking heat and air, things like that. Evaluate all of our utility bills, get a baseline, and then from there they're going to determine what projects would be useful for us. Now the way they look at that is, what can we do to make your schools better and it not cost you money to do? I'll show you what that means here in a minute. This is the one that shows it better than anywhere. You had $1 million power or energy bill at one time. They're going to try to cut that down to say $700,000. They're going to save you $300,000. Then they're going to turn around and get that $300,000 for improvements into your building. That's basically how they work, okay? It's not a sleight of hand or things like that. It's actually taking money that we already spend and reallocating it into structure and new equipment and things like that. It's, again, it's not anything that we have to have, and it's not anything that we're like, hey, this, you know, this is great, we just got to jump on it. It just seems like we're to the point where we need to start looking at some of these things. That again is talking about working up on a whole building. Whenever, if we decide we want to use them, let's say to work on the high school, they do the whole shebang. We don't have to hire 15 different people. They do the whole thing. They select subcontractors. We can actually tell them which subcontractors we would like to use if we want to do that. They guarantee savings, and if they don't hit the savings they guarantee you, they pay for it. So they guarantee what they do. Their big thing there in Black is no change orders. Chad knows this, that we spend a lot of money on change orders whenever we're building something. I mean, it's just, now we need to add this door plus pay another 25% because somebody left it out. So no change orders. They will stay with us and long-term measure everything that we do over the years. So it's like you're getting somebody to help you kind of get through everything, and supposedly a little bit smarter than we are, hopefully. So what they would do is do their discovery phase, about 2 to 3 months, do that. Then they will design what they feel like we need, and we get with them and say, hey, this is what we would like to do. They handle the construction, the commissioning, and then they handle the measurement and verification. So again, we are not locked into this. If we never spend a dime with this company, it doesn't cost us anything. Some of the other ones that we were dealing with, it did. So if I never spend a dime and they go through all of this 2 to 3 months and we never use them, there's nothing out of White County's pocket. So it's like kind of a no-brainer when that goes. Now, I'd hate to do someone that way, but on the other hand, you know, there's no upfront. There's no, hey, we've got to give them $25,000, $30,000. So any questions on that? I know that was really quick, but.
So the savings they would provide to us, we would reinvest into the school system, or we would reinvest in the project?
In the project.
Okay.
Yeah, you put it into the project, and they try to get that savings back out through energy.
So over the course of time, that savings would eventually come as revenue or
Right.
less expenses to us?
If they do it right, yes.
Okay. Nice caveat.
That makes sense to everybody? That's just something that we want to, you know, go forward with. I just wanted you to see kind of what we were thinking. We'll move with that and just see how it goes, and I'll try to keep you updated.
So, Mr. Alley, if you would just a moment. Any other questions? Board members have any other questions for Mr. Alley regarding this particular proposal that he's gone over with us?
I have a question, please.
Okay?
If they say at your school you have 10 things they need to work on, is that what you have to agree to? Is all 10 of those, or do
No.
they prioritize them? Or
Right.
how-
You
Okay.
know, they're going to shoot for the stars whenever, you know, they're going to be like, well, yeah, you need to spend, you know, $18 million at White County High School. We're going to be able to say, well, we want to do this, we want to do that. And then they'll come back with, okay, if you do this, this will be the savings that you'll get. So no pressure into have to do what they asked us to do. We still get to pick what we want to do.
Board members, if I could, Mr. Allen and I have discussed this, and as the board talked about strategic planning, and as we look at our capital improvement plan, we had already knocked out a lot of that plan that was put together, started back in 2022, or actually 2017, we first worked on that. We're just at a point where we feel like we need somebody else to look at our facilities and say, we think this is what you need. We have ideas of what we think we would, if you ask us budget, we're coming up on budget season, what we think needs to happen. But we'd like someone else to come in and take an outside look and an assessment of our facilities and say, this is structurally what you need, or this is what infrastructurally what you need. And so just feel like it's a good time with all the strategic planning that we're doing and academic planning to reassess where we are in our capital outlay plan as well. So that's why we feel like it's important to do. We're not obligated to do any of those things that they list, but I think it would be a really wise investment of our time to allow them to give us that assessment and give us a good roadmap moving forward.
2 to 3 months, I think, was the discovery.
Yes.
When could they start if we said yes?
I have not asked that question,
Okay.
but I'm assuming pretty soon.
Is there a better time, worse time for this kind of work to be done?
Not really, because they're going to be they're going to send someone up here and start going through all of our utility bills and things like that. And then probably by spring, they'll start going through and taking pictures of every unit we have, every electrical thing we have, you know. So it's going to take them a while. This is probably a good time to get started, you know.
So, Mr. Alley, I'd like to say thank you because you did bring this to us back in August, and we had a presentation on that, and we asked you guys to do your due diligence and go back through and just make sure that that you looked at this type of service for what have some things to compare to and get some comparisons. And so you're coming to us tonight recommending that where you started back in August, that's where you ended up. And so I appreciate you guys doing the due diligence on that. To echo what Mr. Stromberger said is that where our capital outlay and our capital plan is right now, we've covered a lot of that plan. And so rather than just going out on our own and trying to say this is what we do next, what we're doing is we're going to leverage a service that professionals are trained in this type of work are going to come in and do an assessment for us. We're not obligated to do any project. They would like the opportunity for us to use them if we did want to go forward with a project, is my understanding. But we're not committed to them for a given project. Is that correct?
That's correct. And a little bit of history. I've been here 10 years. 12 years ago, they did this same thing. White County Schools did with a different company. I still have a report somewhere. We never used that company, but we had the report to see what we needed to do. And a lot of times I was able to go through and look at what they had recommended and add to our 5-year plan off of that. It's just been 12 years since that's been done.
Right. I guess one other thought, point I'd like to make sure we're clear on this, that it's not saying that the work's going to be, that we're going to get all this work done for free.
No.
There still will be capital appropriations that on a given project.
Right.
However, we're looking at their skills and their assessment to help us figure out how we can maybe recapture some of that investment that we would be putting into that.
That's right. Our recapture will be coming off of the utility bills, and they're going to guarantee that if, for instance, if we say, hey, we want to go to a 4-pipe system in the high school to where you can have heat and air on the same time, they'll say, well, hey, this is going to cost you $3 million to do that. Well, we're going to have to pay that $3 million. but they're going to try to get to recoup as much as they can through the energy and the heat and the air conditioning to pay you back. So we're going to cut our energy bills, and if they don't, then they have to pay for that. So it's a pretty neat deal.
Mr. Alley, are we entering into a contract with them in order to get started? Because if so, that's probably needs board approval.
Right. I just now got finished with going through all of the other companies, and something too that kind of swayed me with this company other than the others. Some of those companies, if you did not use them, it cost you money in the years to come for the next 5 years. So I just didn't feel like that was something we needed to get into. Contract-wise, I'm going to say we will, and I'd say we'll have to bring some more stuff in front of the board, but I haven't got that far.
And we understand that, Mr. Allen, and thank you. So really tonight, this is more for informational
Yes,
purposes
that's
for
right.
us. However, your intent is you want to move forward with that, but when you, as moving forward with that means, you'll be asking them for what's your application, what are the contract, what are the terms, at which point that would be brought to us. We would have opportunity, board members, to review that before we would approve Mr. Alley proceeding with that.
That's
But-
correct.
But based on what we asked you to do last August, you're basically here in January saying, I've completed the work, here's where I'm at, here's
Right.
where we want to proceed. And I think based on questions being asked, I think in spirit of what you're trying to do, it makes sense. So it would be worth your while to go on and start bringing that information to us.
We'll continue with that, and like I said, next report, I'll have you some details. Okay.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Alley.
Okay.
All right, board members, appreciate that. Next, we'll move to our budget report, and Ms. Officer has that information for Ms. Officer.
So this is the report for the period ending December 31st of 2025. The end of December reflects the midpoint of the fiscal year and the transition into the peak property tax collection season. The general purpose school fund revenues through December represent a 1.5% increase over this same time last year. Expenditures and encumbrances, an increase of 7.37% from December 24th. These expenditures increase continue to be driven by the salary and wage costs related to those bonuses from August of 25. Local option sales tax collections for year-to-date total reflected continued growth over this period last year. TISA funds are slightly lower than this previous year, but receipts in general are in line with the budget expectations at this 51% of the annual projection. School federal project funds revenues are 31.39% lower than prior year, while expenditures are 10.45% lower, largely due to the shifts in the federal programming funding and timing. Expenditures are currently outpacing revenue, which is typical for this fund operates on a reimbursement basis where funds are requested after obligations are met. The Central Cafeteria Fund revenues show a decrease of 5.48% over this prior year, while expenditures have increased 3.57%, driven by the rising cost of food and supplies. As in previous years, the fund reflects a temporary reduced projected fund balance at this point in the year until the federal reimbursements begin to slowly rebuild this fund in the coming months. Overall, school system's financial position remains stable through these first 6 months of this fiscal year. Revenues are generally tracking as expected. Departmental spending remains within budgeted parameters, and no areas of major concern are currently noted.
Thank you, Ms. Officer, and thank you, Mr. Markham, for providing that information. Board members, any questions, comments about our budget and our financial report?
Markham, do you still feel like we are on track to add back to our bottom line at the end of the fiscal year or the budget year? Okay. All right. Thank you.
question. How much control does the board have for Fund 142 and 143? If that makes sense, what I'm,
Talking about the federal and the two federal funds?
well, the federal fund and the central cafeteria fund.
That's, yes, that's also federal.
Answer my question right. How much control do we have to impact that budget? Most of the money coming in, we know is going to go out. And- Okay. Okay. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. All right, any other questions regarding our budget report? Okay, we'll move on through our list. Budget amendments and transfers. There are no budget amendments and transfers for this month, so we'll expect some of those come in next month, I'm sure. So then we get into our personnel reports, and you were provided personnel reports in your packet prior to the meeting that reflected number of applicants, interviews, and hires for the month of December, as well as district personnel changes. Any questions or comments regarding the personnel report? Okay, hearing none, then we'll move on to our threat assessment report. Threat assessment was also provided to you prior to the meeting. There were two reports deemed non-credible, and those incidences have been closed, so thankful for that. Any questions on the threat assessment report? Okay, then next we'll move on to the proposed district calendar, school calendar for 2026-2027. Provided a draft for next year's calendar, and I think there was a, let's see, we approved this calendar. We haven't. This is our first shot of this. However, there was a change with this due to Election Day. Is that reflected in this calendar?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. We had, in the process, first of all, this process goes through the Teacher Advisory Board. They take this back to the schools and seek input from their school teams and provide feedback back to our office here at the board office, and then we compile that calendar. So it's a very teacher-driven process, but in that process we did leave out the August 6th election day, so we had to put that back in. So it's going to provide what I'm calling a non-traditional start to our school year. Teachers will report the previous Friday back to school at July 30th. Students will register on the 31st. That's a Friday morning. Then our first full day will be Tuesday, August 4th. That'll be the first full day with students, in which we'll have countywide open house that night as well. They'll go to school the 4th and 5th. Then the 6th, that Thursday, will be closed for Election Day by statute, and then back on Friday the 7th for another full day. So there'll be a little bit of start-stop to get going, but that was the best way that we felt like, given the election days and the calendar, the way those days fall, to get school started. So we want to let hopefully get this calendar approved so that we can get it out so people can make arrangements. It's very similar to this year's calendar as far as start and end dates of school. Spring break and fall break are the same weeks that they have been. The one major change will be the entire week of Thanksgiving break. We will be off out of school Thanksgiving week. So other than that, the calendar is very similar to this year, noting that non-traditional start.
Okay, thank you for that explanation. Mr. D, any questions regarding the calendar for next year?
Me and Ms. Douglas were just having a conversation, kind of a sidebar here, talking about the August 4th countywide open house that says K-8. So the high school and the middle school, or the high school doesn't do an open house. Do they just wait until the parent-teacher conference in September as their open house, kind of?
So, Dr. Pritchard, correct me if I'm wrong, but the high school does orientations leading up to school starting. They'll do orientations at the end of the school year, so they get to credit that time for what they do for open house. And different grade levels, and so they've requested to allow that. They almost felt like they were doing double duty by doing open house after they'd already done orientation, so we allowed them to credit that time for those. And we have several years ago tried to stagger open houses just so that families that have students at all three levels don't miss out on the opportunity to talk to their teachers.
I have a question, just for my own clarification. This is 179 student days, not 180?
Yes, that's permissible for us to do 179, and if you'll actually look as well, because we have administrative days in there as well, so we get to count that administrative day as a student school day. And then also, you'll notice there's more student days in the second semester. That's by design as well, because mostly snow days happen in the second semester in January and February, and so if we're going to miss days, we want to take advantage of those and have those available then, and have more teaching time then towards the test.
All good questions, thank you. Any other questions regarding our school calendar for 2026, 2027? Our student representatives, does this look good to y'all? Even though one of you we're not going to impact? But if you were being impacted, it would meet your standard. Okay, great. Thank you. Glad we have your approval. All right. So then we'll move on. Last time on our consent agenda, and that's the annual academic report. Policy 1603 states that the director shall make an annual report concerning efficiency needs of the school system, and that includes information regarding instructional staff. And so in your packet, along with that policy, was provided the annual report for the district. It was updated as of today, and it's based on prior year's data. So it does speak to applications that we have received, and then, but specifically gives you some feedback on our on the measurements and evaluations of our tenured, non-tenured, and administrative staff. So pause here for a second. If Mr. Drombarger would like to speak to that, he can, or we'd also, board members, if you reviewed that and have any questions or comments you'd like to make.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just some notes. There are several things and information you can look at. I've sent you a link to that item number 3. It's an extensive spreadsheet showing teachers and evaluations and the dates in which they were evaluated. just noting on number 6, our non-tenured teachers, just showing that they're scoring very well, and that's a testament to our curriculum coaches and our curriculum team, supervisors working hard, and our principals, just everyone pouring into our novice teachers. Also, our tenured teachers scoring very well, as we expect as well, and higher than our non-tenured. Principals scoring well. I'm pretty stingy with level 5s, as you can see, but they're working really hard. Not that they haven't earned them, but we keep them pursuing excellence, but they're doing a fantastic job. The correlation between evaluation and productivity, there are 4 different levels of 4 different metrics of achievement as far as the state is concerned on overall performance. We are what's considered an an advancing district. I think we just missed being exemplary by 1/10 of a point. Once again, there were only, I think, 12 or 14 exemplary districts in the state, and so that'll keep us pursuing excellence. And we missed it by just a bit. I highlighted one of our lowest areas was chronic absenteeism, or chronically out of school. We work really, really hard at trying to get kids to school every day, and that's kind of frustrating because that's not really under our control so much. But nevertheless, we get judged by it, so we'll continue to work hard at that. That was our lowest measure, but we encourage all those who are listening to get to school every day. 6 out of our 8 schools, or 75% of our schools, are reward schools by the Department of Education. That's really unheard of across the state. Our supervisors, who many are in the room tonight, do a fantastic job as well. And I lean on them each and every day. They do a great job of leading our district and helping support our teachers and leaders throughout White County. And as we mentioned, we scored very well on the report card. There were 14 D schools in the Upper Cumberland, I think a couple of Fs as well. We are in none of those. We are very, very high in our grade card, and so very proud of what's going on in our school district academically, and the leadership and teachers, students, and staff and parents as well. We appreciate everyone's help in making us be successful academically.
Thank you, Ms. Stromberger. Any questions, comments, board members? I would say well done on that, and do plan to touch on our academic performance in our regular meeting tonight. And for our student representatives, thank you for being achievers and helping contribute to those scores. And as well as our administrative staff is here tonight too, so thank you for your influence on allowing our district to be recognized at a high level. So that brings us to the end of our consent agenda items for tonight. Board members, any other items of business we need to address during this work session time? Oh, yeah, good point. There are 3 items that were added to new business, and just going to give you a little heads up for that because they weren't in your packet prior to tonight's meeting. After review of policy, it was noted that policy 4203 is actually a duplicate of policy 4212 in our policy. That is virtual education program. So we actually have that in there twice, and so recommendation is that we remove policy 4203 and remove that duplicate from our policy manual. The next item is director is asking that we change the title of 4302. 4302 is field trips, excursions, and competitions, and what we're on our policy the map that leads us, the link that leads us to in our policy manual, it actually references field trips, and that's not what it is. So we'd be requesting TSBA change that on our online policy manual, where it does reflect field trips, excursions, and competitions for our policy 4302. So that's really just a clerical correction that we'd be making then. And then finally, in new business, our director has been asked by TOS to attend a conference in Washington, D.C., May 12th through the 13th, and so he would be asked to go and attend that conference as a member of Tennessee, representing our state, and it is no cost to us as a district. Those expenses are being paid for, but he would like approval to be able to be out of the office on those days to attend that conference. So those are the new business items that were added since our posting of the agenda. Anything else? Okay, if not, we'll adjourn our work session and reconvene at 6 o'clock for a regular board meeting. Thank you. This will be our 2-minute warning, and we'll start in 2 minutes. Okay, if I could have your attention, we'll call the White County School Board Board of Education meeting to order. If you would, please rise and ask Mr. John Smith if he would lead us in pledge. Thank you, Mr. Smith. Appreciate that. It's great to see everyone here tonight. I would like to let you know that this is the January 8th, 2026 meeting of the White County Board of Education. It is not the March 8th meeting of the White County Board of Education. Spring break does not start tomorrow, even though the weather outside may make you think it is, but it is not. But we're glad everyone's here tonight. Appreciate our staff being here, and board members, and also members of the public, and those that will be recognized later in the course of our meeting. Before we consider our approving our agenda for tonight, I'd like to state that Tennessee Statute and Board Policy 1400 states that every meeting of the board shall be open to the public except where law allows for a closed session. The agenda for the board meetings are posted on the district's website at www.whitecoastschools.net, and the agendas are posted at least 3 days prior to each meeting. Public Acts of 2023, Chapter number 300, and Board Policy 1404 state that each board meeting shall include an agenda item reserved for public comment, as well as the conditions under which those wishing to comment will be recognized. A sign-up sheet is made available prior to the beginning of each regular meeting. Individuals who have signed up prior to the start of our meeting who wish to speak during this portion of the meeting will be recognized in the order listed on the sign-up sheet at the point in the agenda designated for public comments. Board meetings are streamed with the help of our central office technology staff for live or recorded viewing. Links are provided on the district's website. Attending and or speaking during tonight's meeting implies consent for those comments and appearances to be used. So before we start tonight's agenda, does anyone on the board have a conflict of interest on the agenda that we're proposing tonight?
Mr. Chair, as I do each and every month, just to be clear and above board for everything and transparent. My wife is a teacher in this district, and the views that you hear from me tonight will be of mine and mine alone, and in the best interest of the students and the staff of White County Schools, and I have no conflict with anything on the agenda.
Thank you, Mr. McDonald.
Mr. Chairman, I do not have a conflict with anything tonight, but my spouse is also employed by the district. The opinions I express are mine and mine alone.
Thank you, Ms. Officer.
Mr. Chair, my wife works at the high school. There is no conflict with the agenda tonight, but like my colleagues, my views are mine and mine alone.
All right, thank you, Mr. Smith. So, Mr. Sims, please, in the minutes, let them reflect that Mr. McDonald, Ms. Officer, and Mr. Smith all indicated they have spouses working within the district, but nothing on the agenda being considered tonight would pose as a conflict for them. So that leads us to the approval of tonight's agenda for the meeting. So, board members, you've had an opportunity to review the agenda being considered for tonight's meeting, and would like to give you the opportunity for approving that. Just for note, we have added 3 items in new business that we discussed in our work session. That's regarding board policy 4203. 4203, 4302, and also a travel approval for our director. And do keep in mind that if there are an item when we get to consent, if there's an item that needs to be pulled out of consent for further discussion, it will be added to as the 4th item in new business. So at this time, I'd entertain a motion for approval of the agenda for tonight's meeting.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Mr. McDonald. Have a second.
Second.
Second by Ms. Officer. Any discussion? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Next item is our consent agenda. Items in our consent agenda were reviewed by the board during our work session tonight. That included the approval of meeting minutes from our December 11th meeting. We reviewed policy, had a policy report. Policies 1901 regarding some language change for charter school, and also policy 2804, which regards to some guidance for reimbursement in the event a expense was submitted that included being charged sales tax. So those items, those policies were discussed. Policy 2804 in the discussion, if approved on first reading tonight, we are seeking guidance for language that would be included on that policy if it was to move forward for next week. Maintenance report was provided by Mr. Alley, and he did a presentation for professional services, doing evaluation on our district's facilities with hopes to help us establish a comprehensive capital plan for the coming years. The budget report was presented by Ms. Officer. We did not have any budget amendments or transfers. We reviewed our personnel report, threat assessment report, and also the approval of the proposed school calendar for calendar year 26 and 27. And then the board was presented with the annual academic report per our policy 1603. So all of those items were covered in our work session and are part of our consent agenda. And if there's any item in the consent agenda that a board member wishes to have removed, please let it be known at this time. Okay, if there is no objection, then the consent agenda will be adopted by unanimous vote as presented. Next, we're pleased to have guests with us tonight, Ms. Malia Johnson, principal of Doyle Elementary. Ms. Johnson is going to be coming and sharing with us the Artists of the Year Awards for the students at Doyle. Ms. Johnson, welcome.
Hey, thank you. I told Mr. D I'm probably the last person that needs a microphone in front of me, but we are very happy that it is Doyle's month, and I'm always happy to be in front of the school board, and you know how grateful I am for always having everybody's support. I had emailed the faculty last month, and I said, hey, send me your Artist of the Year. Kids sing art, not necessarily in that category, and these 4 young men and women are who our whole entire faculty voted for. So I'm very proud to have these guys here. First and foremost is Miss Tinsley Moore. If you come up, Miss Tinsley. Miss Jenny says she has a bubbly personality and she sings wherever she may be. I especially enjoy hearing her sing just to herself during recess time, just swinging and singing. Come up here, baby girl. Yeah. And I hope she never loses her love for songs and that she sings her sweetheart out all of her life. And she just loves it when Miss Johnson dances to her parents' music in the morning. That's always the highlight of your day, isn't it? Not necessarily. All right. Next up is Miss Everly Eads. Miss Heikkinen. Miss Heikkinen said she's a pleasure to have in art class. She is helpful and mature for her age, and she's always open for suggestions and always cheerful. She is talented in drawing, and Miss Heikkinen just loves her to death in her class. Next up is Miss Abigail Gibson, and I will say she is from Florida. She moved with us, and the first thing she asked me when she walked into our building was, "Do you have art class here?" Because they did not have art in her school in Florida. And so Miss Clark and Miss Neal said her previous school didn't have art, and she is so creative. It is obvious she loves it. She can make and design anything out of many different items. She has made me a house out of paper. She designed a purse. I think it was out of tape. It's over there. She brought it. I mean, she made that using different materials and loves to draw and color during her free time. I feel she uses art to express herself, and they hope that you always continue that love of art. Yes, congratulations. And last but not least, Mr. Lennox Carr. Miss Parker, Miss Casey, and Miss Rachel said he's an amazing and very talented artist in our classroom. The students love to sit and watch him draw. During bus duty, the students actually have him draw characters, and I myself have gotten an autographed Sonic the Hedgehog, by the way. He is amazing. He has drawn so many things in the classroom, and the students, as well the teachers, are fascinated by. He's also, on top of that, a very good friend in the classroom and has many other unique qualities and talented. He's a very gifted student in many ways and definitely deserves this honor. So we are so proud of these four, and I wish I could bring all 300 to you and brag on them.
Thank you, Ms. Johnson. Board, we'll take a recess. Parents, if you'd like to come up and get a picture of all the students, we'll do that at this time, and so we'll take a recess at this moment and give you the opportunity to do that. Ms. Johnson and parents, we do appreciate you coming out tonight, and congratulations to all the students. We would like to welcome you to stay for the rest of our board meeting, but if you need to leave, you can do so at this time. I would like to point out that Tennessee having art classes in our elementary schools, attracting students, and Florida not, that's just another reason why it's the great volunteer state.
Mr. Chairman, was that on record? Should that be in the minutes?
Yes, Ms. Sims, please put that in minutes. All right, we'll call our meeting back to order. So next item on our agenda is our student representative report. We have Miss Odell and Miss Sackett from White County High School, and I'd like to give them an opportunity to give their report. Ladies?
Thank you. Happy New Year! School just started back on Monday, and students are hard at work after a much-needed break. Due to that break, we don't have too much to reflect on tonight, but we're going to give you a report on what we're looking forward to. The first few days of the semester have been spent transitioning into new classes, giving students the opportunity to meet their new teachers, learn safety protocols, and begin new studies. The staff has been very supportive and welcoming during this transition to ensure smooth beginnings. Due to the holiday break, there were no major events in the past month, but students and staff spent some time actively preparing for upcoming events while ensuring that academic routines are quickly set back in place. This period of adjustment has allowed students to refocus on their studies and extracurricular commitments, setting the stage for a productive semester ahead. Excitement is building for our upcoming basketball homecoming. Students are participating in activities including team practices, event planning, dress-up days, and an upcoming pep rally next Friday. With students having moved into their new classes, teachers are implementing new semester curricula and providing support for students as they navigate the new coursework and schedules. In addition to academic coursework, students are continuing to participate in a variety of certification and career readiness programs. Several students are enrolled in ICEV certification courses, including communication and business pathways, which allow them to build practical skills applicable beyond the classroom. Students are also working towards OSHA safety certifications, gaining essential knowledge related to the workplace safety and industry standards. These programs support college and career readiness by providing students with recognized credentials and hands-on learning opportunities that complement their academic studies. Beyond the traditional academics, our school continues to prioritize preparing students for success after graduation through a variety of career-focused and experiential learning opportunities. These programs allow students to apply classroom knowledge in practical settings while developing skills that support both college and workforce readiness. In addition to coursework, students continue to benefit from strong work-based learning opportunities that connect classroom instruction with real-world experience. Our work-based learning program was notably highlighted when I served my previous term on the Tennessee Department of Education Student Engagement Board, where industry professionals and state leaders recognized the program as a strong model, and during my experience, professionals actively took notes on our strengths in the program, including meaningful student engagement, career alignment, and partnerships with local businesses. Similarly, our career and technical education programs and career and technical student organizations provide students with valuable leadership development, hands-on learning, and competitive opportunities. Through CTE pathways and CTSO participation, students gain industry-relevant skills, collaborate with peers, and prepare for future careers while representing our school at local, regional, and state levels. Although the latter half of December and the first few days of January have been quieter because of the holiday break, it's been an important time for rest, preparation, planning, and transition. Students are engaged and motivated, and staff are ensuring that the semester starts on strong footing. We look forward to sharing our updates on upcoming events, academic progress, and student achievements in our next report.
Thank you, ladies. Board members, any comments on our student representative reports?
I do have one comment, Mr. Chair, if you'll oblige me. Just asked the question how long we'd had the student represented on our board, but I want to give a kudos to these young ladies and the previous students that we have. Their parents have done a fantastic job raising these young ladies and young men that we've had on this board, and to be so elegantly spoken. And I can't do it myself, but these folks are the leaders. They're the future leaders, and they're the ones that we've got to pass this down to. And I give kudos to the high school administration for picking the best of the best to represent us on this board. So I like that we're a trendsetter, and we had student reps before a lot of the other counties in this state did. So kudos to you ladies for giving us an inside perspective of what goes on inside White County High School, and then being involved outside of that with all the endeavors that you do. So thank you to you ladies, and thank you to the families for sharing them with us for a little while.
Thank you, Mr. McDonald. Any other comments, board members? Ladies, I couldn't help but notice that you spoke a lot about work-based learning and experiences outside the classroom. Are either one of you getting to participate in that this coming semester?
I have 2 blocks where I have work-based learning opportunity. I actually work at True North Real Estate and Auction Services, and I've been able to tie that back into being enrolled in Ag Business Pathway. So all of our auctions can be tied to agriculture land sales. So I get to do all the work with that during second block, and then during fifth block, I get to shadow Beverly Drombarger and hopefully get to work with students and help families in the clothing and pantry.
Great. Sodell?
My second semester of senior year, I've already been informed that I have an internship with Tennessee Heart to do work-based learning with them because I want to do cardiothoracics. So I am involved in our therapeutics program. So I'll get to go into the office for a fifth block every day for the second semester.
Make sure you're good at that because everybody on this board is going to need you at some point.
Great. Thank you, ladies. And as far as the school calendar that we approved, you were okay with that, correct? All right. Just want to make sure we had students' confirmation on that as well. All right. Thank you for that report. So next we'll go to our Mr. Drombarger, and he will give us our district report for January.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I've been shadowing Beverly Drombarger for 31 years, and I'll move on. So personnel report, we are fully staffed and in bus routes and in teachers. That's saying a lot this time of year, considering other districts are showing shortages and struggles. Our enrollment is a little over 3,600 students, counting pre-K. That's slightly higher than before Christmas, so we welcome some new incoming transfer students. We've been in the portal at NIL. Holiday break, schools, these are all jokes. Holiday break, schools reopened this week after a long holiday break. Elementary schools and the middle school are participating in mid-year benchmark testing, while the high school is shifting into new classes for the start of the second semester. Financially, as you heard, our financial status is in very good shape. We're already looking at next year and evaluating our programs. We'll be considering very carefully our staff positions and building improvements in the days ahead. Athletically, the WCHS bowling team completed a successful season recently, and the high school basketball teams are performing well. Many spring sports are in conditioning seasons at this time, with full practices beginning in February. Building projects at Doyle, the rooms are being painted and are ready for flooring and ceiling tiles. The windows and furnishings will come last. This project is scheduled to be completed before spring break. We are also currently working to replace the faulty flashing school signs on Roosevelt Drive near the high school. I think that actually took place today. Thank you. And then shout out to our maintenance crews who are doing an exceptional job. They've started using a new electronic platform that helps them organize and report the status of all work orders, and they are doing a really good job at the time being. Academically, as previously reported, White County Schools received its school letter grades based on last year's TCAP testings. White County had 4 schools that scored an A on the report card, 3 with a B, 1 with a C. I've researched other districts in the region, and it's hard to find another district with such good, consistent scores. So we'll continue to pursue excellence, but I'm very proud of where we are at this moment. This completes my director's report. Be glad to answer any questions that you have.
Thank you, Mr. Drombarger. Any questions for our director and the director's report? Just like to speak to the academics portion. I'm going to do that a little bit later, but the reports, the items that the scores that our district's been hitting, the grade marks that we've been hitting this year is to be commended, and so we thank our students who are engaged and being willing to be taught, and our teachers, our administrators for creating the conditions for that learning to take place, and our director for leading that charge. You covered that in our annual report. It did speak to the level of our teachers and administrators and how they were scoring, but also provided the information our district in regarding the scores for the various entities that we're being measured by, and so we should not let that go unnoticed and say thank you for all that are working diligently in providing high quality education in White County for our students and our community. Any other questions for comments for our director? Okay, if not, we'll move down to the next item on our agenda, and that's public comment. Policy 1404 says that each meeting we have a time slot designated for public comment for any items that are on our agenda. That sign-up sheet was provided before the meeting, and there was nobody listed on that wished to speak to be recognized tonight during this time. So we'll move on to new business. So board members, as we discussed in our work session, new business items, we have three. One is to remove policy 4203, which is a duplicate of our policy 4212. So we want to give the opportunity to clean that up by removing that policy from our manual. So this time I would entertain a motion for approval for that policy to be removed.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. McDonald. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Douglas. Any discussion? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion passes. Next item is, it was noted in our, there's a discrepancy in on our website, the title of policy 4302. On our website, the link that's used to take us to this particular policy is incorrectly named compared to what the policy is. It should state it should reflect the same title as what our policy is, and that's field trips, excursions, and competitions. So we're recommending that we change that on the website page so that's consistent with what the policy actually is. So this time I would make a motion for approval of that title change.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Smith. Do I have a second? Second by Ms. Officer. Any discussion?
This is just clarifying the title of.
It's aligning the title on the website link to what the actual
And that's
title
something that
is.
TSBA does as they monitor our
This actually, I came across this, Mr. Chair, Mr. Vice Chairman. They actually have, there's another policy in Section 1 that's called School Day, which deals to the number of hours that the students are in school each day. So this is just clarifying that. This is the actual name of that policy is Field Trips, Excursions, and Competitions. So we're just making a title change to match what the policy actually says.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions, comments? Okay, I had a motion and a second. If no further discussion, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Next item in new business is director approval for director's travel. Our director has been invited by TOS to attend an event in Washington, D.C. On May 12th through 13th. That event will be the cost of that event will be covered by TOS and no expense to the district. However, we are approving our director to be away for those days to be able to attend that conference. So this time I would entertain a motion for approval for our director's travel.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. McDonald. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Smith. Any questions, discussion? Okay. Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Next, that leads us into old business. Board members, you were presented with two items on our agenda in our old business. One was the lease agreement for a school board-owned fire hall properties. In our previous meetings, we had discussed drafting of a lease that could be used in the event of an agreement with our volunteer fire halls. We've been asked if we would to table this approval of this agreement, and so that some further investigation could be done and research could be done on that agreement. And so I would like to propose that we table that, considering that agreement tonight, and move it to a future meeting.
Motion to table.
I have a motion to table. I have a second. Second by Ms. Officer. Motion by Mr. McDonald, second by Ms. Officer. Any discussion? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Next item on old business is recognition of the district's academic performance. As we stated, for past two meetings, we've covered our scores and noted how well our district is doing. This is something that it has been published in the paper. We've had some opportunities to discuss it here in these settings. But board members, in the past, we have also made personal presentations to our governing bodies, the county and also the city, just to make them aware personally of the good work that's going on here in the White County School District. So I would like to ask that board consider going, and I will volunteer my services to go and make them aware of that at an upcoming meeting, and allow Mr. Drombarger to come as well, and we can go and just share the information, share this news and scoring and what's being the district, good work the district's doing, if that's something that the board would be in agreement with.
I wouldn't mind attending that as well. If you'll just put out the date that we need to be there and where we need to be.
And it could be something that, thank you, Mr. McDonald, it could be something that as entire board we might like to attend, including our student representatives. So are we in agreement with that? Okay. So we'll have to coordinate getting on county and city's agenda. And I appreciate your willingness to come and be there and show support. And we will go and share the good news about what our district is doing and how we're performing. Mr. D?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd just be remiss if I didn't just thank some people at this point. When we've said this along the way, but I'd like to say it again, that one of the greatest joys of my job is to get to stand on so many people's shoulders that are in this room or in this district, and to brag on the great work that they do. And they do a fantastic job each and every day. I was able to provide a radio interview recently, and they asked me what I would attribute White County's academic success to, and I said it's very cliche, but it's people. We have really good people at all different levels that do a fantastic job every day, and I'm just fortunate to, as I said, get to stand on their shoulders every day. But if I've done one good thing as a director, I think I've hired really good people in our supervisory roles. They do a fantastic job of working really hard. They go into the schools every day and link arms with our staff and with our students and do the hard work. We have great principals in place. We have a fantastic support staff. We have incredible students and parents who raise them. They're very supportive of our school system, and the list goes on. And as I said, it's very cliche, but we have a great group of people in White County that make us successful. Not perfect, but very, very successful. And it's an excellent school system. I'm very proud to lead it, and I'm just thankful for all those that serve in various roles that make me look good. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. D, and I think as a board we would echo that as well. All right. So unless there's other comments on our district's academic performance and going and promoting that to our friends at the county and the city, then we'll move on to the next item on the agenda, and that's chairman's comments. Our next school board meeting will be February 12th. 2026 here at the Board of Education. We'll be spotlighting Findlay And also, we'll have our work sessions that will begin at 5 o'clock. Our regular board meeting will be at 6. Board members, just a reminder that the statement of disclosures of interest are due January 31st. And so be sure that you get those filled out online in time.
I do have one other thing, Mr. Chair. Our next meeting is, you said the 12th, is that correct?
February 12th.
Okay, so TSBA has legal and legislative on the 16th and 17th, which is the Monday and Tuesday after that in Franklin. You can register for that, and it gives us an update on what's going on Capitol Hill in Nashville, and there will be legislators there. So it's a Monday afternoon, Tuesday morning meeting. So if you want to get that on that agenda or get registered for that, you'll need to see Mr. D or I guess Ms. Sims now to get registered for that. So just
Okay. And by the way, we'd like to recognize Ms. Sims as being our our board secretary, representing us to the TSBA. Ms. Sims, thank you for being willing to serve in that capacity. Board members, that concludes our agenda items tonight. So at this time, I'd entertain a motion for adjournment.
so move.
Motion by Mr. McDonald. Have a second. Second by Mr. Young. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? Y'all have a good evening. Thank you.